Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to be talking about specifically Andrew Yang and one of my greatest hopes for his presidency, which would be the return of acceptance at the presidential level, within the presidential role, of the superpower of specifically the power of presidential speech, right? So let's talk about this. So I'm really of presidential pontification and pointing. Okay, so pontification is giving speeches directly to America, right? This can be done in many ways. Actually, Trump right now gives speeches on the regular basis, on the reg, through Twitter. Like they're really tiny, direct speeches to America, right? It's skipping the media. It just jumps right over the media, leaps over the media, and goes directly to the people. But you can do this in many ways. You can do a national address. You can, just say to all the networks, "Hey, I want to be on television. I'm the president. Put me on television," right? And it really is a superpower, right? And you can do it in many ways. You could take interviews, right, from Rolling Stones or some prominent media outlet and say something that you want said, right? The other thing is you could do this on a holiday, right? You could say, "Hey, I'm giving a speech on a holiday." You would only need like one channel to cover it, right? Everybody would just tune in, right? And it's really the president's ability to pontificate and point, right? Just using his or her words to aim the country in a specific direction is incredible. It is. And here's my concern, right? I really feel that this superpower has been utterly just dropped. It's been, set to the side, right, by the vast majority of presidents right now. Trump is using it right now for absolutely horrific reasons, mostly to divide the country and foment anger, and also I really think the president, Donald Trump, I think he uses Twitter to talk to America to assuage some of his own frustrations, which is incredibly strange and odd, and I hope this is a tradition that fully dies with President Trump, like that this goes away, right? I feel like when you're president, you should have more self-control, right? And it's just really kind of odd. So here's the thing, right? This is essentially like if Superman decided never to use his freeze breath again. Like this is a superpower that these presidents have that's really been just left in a corner, and it's almost never used, right? And now I will define pointing. I really feel that Kennedy just pointed us to the moon, and the whole country went there. It's one of humankind's absolutely greatest achievements, and it just came from Kennedy just pointing at the moon, right? Like he just pointed the whole nation at the moon, right? So pontification and pointing, they're so incredibly powerful, right? And I want to just return to this idea about superpowers really quick. So this, the idea that the whole world will listen to you when you're president, that this pontification and this pointing, this incredible, unprecedented, unparalleled platform. The U.S. president has a platform like no other world leader that exists. I don't think that, and no other world leader that ever existed in the entirety of the of humanity on Earth, right? Like their ability to have instant communication to the Americans, and frankly, by default, to the whole world. Because I really think that I'm amazed. Every now and then I would comment on Facebook about, this is really odd that it comes up on Facebook a lot, but I would comment on politics on Facebook carefully, respectfully, right? And Canadians would jump all over it. Like, Canadians cared so much about American politics. It stunned me. I couldn't believe it, right? So the American president, it's just so powerful. And this idea that and the other issue is the presidency has these superpowers, right? They are political, they are historical, they are cultural, right? So from the political perspective, the president can really create laws, right? Now, I understand you have the judicial system, you have the legislative branch, right? And you have the executive branch, right? But the president's power allows it so that he can easily, look over to the legislative branch and get something to go up through the judicial branch, right? So the executive branch is incredibly powerful, and the unique role of the presidential office is so incredibly powerful. It's incredible. It just, so you can essentially you can make law with a dotted line, right? So the president can really, make laws for this nation and for what's actually happening here. In addition to that, historically, presidents have some really unusual powers as well. Historically, presidential funerals are amazing. Like, they're these events in America where, like, all the big dogs come out, all the political big dogs, a lot of really important people come out for these. World leaders come out for these. Celebrities come out for these. And presidents know this, and they can aim triggers on their death, literally using their death to get stuff done. It's the power of the presidency is just completely unprecedented and completely unparalleled. Absolutely amazing, right? So, and then cultural, right? So this idea that the president can say to people certain things using pontification and pointing is just incredible, all right? Now, why is it so important that the president uses these speeches? And this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that Andrew Yang, with his creative, adaptive intelligence, right, this powerful brain he has, which this isn't a small thing. Like, I feel like he is unusually smart. You can, like 1 in 1,000 Americans might have a brain like his. His ability to watch all the minefields that come up in these interviews that he's had, to keep data in his head, to be able to spin and, and just show all this verbal prowess, all this intellectual power. He's 1 in 1,000, right? He's maybe much higher, right? Incredible mind, right? And I want him to take that mind and apply it to this ability to pontificate and to point, right? And here's why, okay? Right now, the Democrat Party in particular, and actually, the Republican Party does this all the time too, but they're looking at how can we help the American people? Well, we can give them money for health. We can give them money for college. We can give them money for disabilities. We can give them money for unemployment. We can give them money for reparations, right? We can give money for disaster relief, right? And the president can guide all of these, right? And both parties are ready to say, okay, I got the checkbook, I got the bucket of money, I'm ready to splash you with this money, right? But the problem is, not only is giving money in this way arbitrary, right? Right now, and that's one of the greatest things about Andrew Yang's UBI is it takes away that arbitrariness of who's getting money, and it spreads that wealth much, much more broadly and much, much more fairly, right? It stops the bucket of money, just getting sprayed in the face with a bucket of money, because you arbitrarily fit one of these small niches, right? But here's the thing, right? This is every single one of these buckets, right? It all comes from the same resource. And guess what? We're human beings. We live on a physical earth. And when it comes to aid, it is absolutely zero sum. When you take money and give it to someone for health, for college, for disaster relief, for reparations, for unemployment, for disabilities, any of that stuff, right? That comes from somewhere else. There is a limit to it, right? There is only so much money that is going to be given to people before you start to fundamentally break systems, right? So you're taking from one group and you're giving to another group. Sometimes it's completely justified. Even if it's justified, you take from one, you give to another. It's zero sum, right? Somebody loses, somebody wins, right? But that's not the case with pontification and pointing. It is unlimited. It is something that the president can do that is incredibly unlimited. It can help everyone at the same time. It can and it doesn't take from one and give to another. It's unlimited. It's, it truly is like a superpower, right? And it's incredible, right? It really is just incredible. So one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is like, so what could Andrew Yang do with this power, right? So one is inspiration, just a simple message, right? Love one another. Every American should love every American, right? We are on this nation together, right? Let's have love for one another, right? Let's treat each other with respect and kindness, and even go to the point of love. Let's give to the point of our own sacrifice if we have something to sacrifice, right? He can give this message throughout his 4 years or his 8 years, whichever he gets, right? Direction, right? Here's a good one. Let's build beyond apps, right? Right now, there's so many brilliant, smart people in this country who are building another app, right? And, and some of them are really helpful. I'm a huge fan of Lyft. I'm a huge fan of Airbnb, right? And these just came out of apps, but they're services, right? But the reality is there's so much of our world that's unexplored. Space travel, building colonies within our own seas, right? Doing things that get rid of our trash, right? Just all these, huge. We need incredibly smart people to stop getting paid, $500,000 a year to give us another app to like trade books or whatever, $1 million, or plan pet play dates, things like that. And there's just so much of our most brilliant minds being used. But the president can say, hey, I'm calling you. If you are right now working for a super high-end tech company and you're making $500,000, $1 million, and $2 million, I need you to back out, take a massive pay cut, right, and do noble work for this nation and for this world, right? And he can inspire. He can inspire people to do this. He's one of the few people, the president, Andrew Yang would be one of the few people who could do this, right? And he has enough goodwill in his heart to do this in a genuine way. And he's just, he's such a great, I can't wait to see him as president. It's going to be incredible, right? And he can point, right? Mars or bust, right? Like, Andrew Yang can do that. He can be the second Kennedy, right? Kennedy got us to the moon. Yang can get us to Mars, right? American colony on Mars. I want it, right? And I really feel like, and it doesn't cost a penny. It's limitless, right? Now, it is limitless in what it can affect. It is absolutely limited in how often it can be used, right? So this is a superpower, right? You can't just be going to the people every single day and telling them what you want, right? But you can, right? You can do it every quarter, and that's how often I would do it, right? I would, if I were Andrew Yang, I would tell his team, I want 16 things in our first term, right? That's 16 seasons. Give me 16 great pontification, pointing, pontification and pointing elements. What are we going to accomplish with the power of pontification and pointing, right? The other thing that I think is really incredibly important about this is when you do this, right? It's really, really fascinating. When you go down this road and you fully acknowledge the power of pontification and pointing, right? Of speeches. What it does is it flips what's being done as far as aid, right? It becomes a call for every American to do something on their own, right? It unlocks giving from citizens to the nation, and it's no longer the nation giving to its citizens. And I feel that is 100 times more powerful, 100 times more powerful than whatever paltry millions or even billions the government can give, right? Unlock the power of the people to help the people, right? It's incredible. And I don't think we've ever really done this. We've never really embraced this type of let's aid the nation with the power of the people, not with the dollars that the government has snatched up through taxes. Let me not get too harsh there. I'm happy to pay my taxes. I actually have never had any beef with the taxes I pay. But what I'm saying is it's so small in comparison to what can be accomplished through the power of our own people. It's really, really important. So I'm incredibly excited about the idea of Andrew Yang being our president on January 20th, 2021. And then and then coming and just telling all the people of our nation, love one another, care for one another, be respectful and kind to one another, giving direction, calling, tech millionaires to build beyond applications, to build incredible solutions that will change our society and could change the world. Pointing at Mars and saying, get me there. I want to sit on a chair in my second year in this presidency on Mars, right? Let's do it, right? And just totally just revving the engine of inspiration for this nation. And I think the goodwill that exists in Andrew Yang's heart, the incredible intelligence that exists in his mind, these are the elements we've needed. This is the time to take pontification and pointing, these limitless resources that can have limitless good, right? Unlike the paltry sums of money we just smear across whatever groups are in vogue at the moment, right? It's just a much better model, and I think Andrew Yang is absolutely the right person to do this in the right way. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.